And good afternoon. This is the Familiar Company podcast. With me today is Bodizen. Thank you for joining me, Bodhi. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you.
So we're going to be talking about manifestation of happiness today. Where would you like to begin?
I would like to begin with a disclaimer, just so people know that I'm not like a master of this topic. Doing the best with my abilities and my experience with what I put together today. And I would also like to start with 5 calming breaths so that we can calm the mind, release the cares and worries of the day. So if we can just do that, just take 5 calming breaths. Okay.
Thank you, Bodhi. I think that was a really good place to begin. It's always good
Thank
to
you.
find a center before we dive into these kind of things.
Yes.
What does manifestation mean to you, Bodhi?
Well, for me, manifestation is not only materialistic, though I do believe materialistic things can improve the quality of our life, say like a phone or like a learning app or things like that, documentaries, podcasts. But I also believe that manifestation, you can manifest energies and states of mind that could also improve the quality of your life.
Right, I definitely agree. Thoughts becoming reality, right?
Yes.
How did you first learn about manifesting happiness in particular?
Well, manifesting happiness is something that I don't know if it already existed, but I formulated the idea on my own. It's a culmination of things I've learned in books, classes, teachings, from experience, and also realizations that I've had in the past.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming here and sharing this with us.
Thank
How
you.
will one that is outside of the spiritual communities start to manifest their own happiness?
Well, there's a handful of things you can do. Uh, First is to make a list or a vision board. Some of you might heard of this uh, with law of attraction or any kind of manifestation. But you don't want to only list objects, but you also want to list states of being, such as blissfulness, joyousness, being grateful or content, intentions. These are your goals that you want to set. You want to put this list everywhere around your house, on your phone, just so it can remind you and help direct your consciousness towards that. There's a saying that if you aim at nothing, then you will hit nothing. So I guess that's what the list helps. Another thing is to know your why. Why do you want these things? This helps you motivate yourself towards getting these things, towards taking the actions that will help you manifest these things. Because manifestation is not only through the mind, but it's also within action in the universe. Meditation and the law of input. I won't go too far into the law of input in this podcast, but I'll just state the basics. The things that you input into your mind through music, TV, reading books, talking to others, it manifests certain thoughts. And these thoughts become ideas, ideas turn into habits, habits turn into your character, and your character, they say, manifest your destiny. I'm not how sure I am on that last one, but I do believe the rest of it.
It's very well said. I think you got the point across. Now, I do want to backtrack to what you said about keeping notes, because I do agree. I think when we put things into our subconscious and in our day to day, it's like faking it till you make it to a certain extent, but not necessarily that. It's the same principle of, you're bringing this reoccurring element into your life until it becomes real, right? I think that's a really good starting point for a lot of people. So thank you for bringing that one up.
Thank you.
What is some of the practices you utilize the most to manifest happiness? or achieve different states of mind at the least?
Well, I took a Buddhist course on manifestation, and it wasn't until that class that I realized this thing that I believe Jesus also said is do for others what you want for yourself, because that will help you manifest something similar. So for me, I started taking on students voluntarily for teaching Qigong because I wanted myself to manifest a teacher for myself, not necessarily Qigong, but a, a teacher, which is in the same context of teaching. So I took on students and started teaching in that manner with that intention. Also, I like to clear blocks. Clearing blocks is you can do through mindfulness, doing qigong, meditation, grounding yourself daily, and also belief repatterning, which is something that really blocks you is belief repatterning because it's hard to manifest what you want when you don't believe that you can actually attain it. So we make this doubt in our minds about the things that we want, and that actually keeps us from getting the things that we want. Also, I practice gratitude, which I believe is a big part of all this.
Right. Absolutely. I think what you kind of touched on there for a second was like a lust for results too, right?
Yes.
Now we've explored some of the basics. What is the number one challenge to this form of manifesting?
The number one challenge, I believe, is attachment to outcomes. When you don't get what you want or it doesn't come in the way that you want, um, we tend to get disheartened, give up, or just not believe in manifesting at all and um, go in a totally different path that may not even get you what you want, regardless.
Right.
And also, yeah, focusing too much on the outside instead of looking within.
Yeah, it can really get in the way of the present moment, right? So we're
Yeah.
touching on like a lust for results again here. What would be some advice for, recentering and being in the present moment and not focusing so much on the outcome or even the doubts around that outcome?
So you want to release your attachment to the outcome because it can come in all shapes and sizes. This is the hard part for everyone, like we just went over in the last question, because the thing that you want may come in a smaller form, it may come in a bigger form, it may come, if you're lucky, exactly how you envisioned it. But also, the hardest part to get over is it may not come because you're not ready for it. The universe doesn't deem you ready for that. Or because if you get that, what you're trying to manifest, it may harm you or hinder your progress within the universe or conscious evolution.
Right, like a genie in the bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a
Also,
few experiences with that.
oh, you have? Okay. Yeah, so if you can get over that big factor, then you'll be set. Another thing is to meditate on loving kindness. There is science-based evidence that loving kindness actually boosts the baseline index of your happiness. So they did a study where there were people who lost their legs and people who won the lottery. And the people who won the lottery obviously were happy, and the people who lost their legs went into a depression. But after a year, they returned to the same people and asked how they were doing, and both had returned to their same baseline happiness index because they have not worked on their mind. They're only focusing on the outside, which is a pretty interesting study. But the study also showed that practice of loving kindness can increase the happiness baseline permanently and sustainably. You also want to work on gratitude and contentment because when you're grateful for what you have and you're content with what you have, then what do you need to manifest? Because you already realize how much you really have, and everything else that you get would just be a bonus. That's why this topic is more manifesting happiness and not only objects.
Right. I definitely agree. I think that was a good point to touch on. Like, if we're fixated on the material aspects of this manifesting, we can get caught up in what we don't have, right? And then we're skipping the whole process of finding happiness. I would say you got to find happiness before you're satisfied with lavishry.
Yes.
Thank you. That was
Because
really good.
sorry.
You're fine. I was just saying thank you.
I just wanted to say, like, because even if you have those things, it has shown that people who do have a lot can still be unhappy.
Right. When did you realize how powerful these practices were? Was it after seeing results, or did you see results in someone else's life?
I've seen these results in others, but I've also seen the results in studies, science-based studies through my research, and also from self-experience. When I started doing Tai Chi, Qigong, and meditation regularly, people started noticing how happy I was all the time. They would always compliment, "Oh, you're so happy all the time. You're smiling all the time. Something bad just happened, and it didn't seem to get to you." And they didn't know why. Also, my anger went down dramatically. I used to be very angry as a child, throw a lot of temper tantrums, and now my anger and my patience has increased dramatically.
Right. Yeah, I've had some similar results as well.
It's beautiful.
So, probably a common question that people get around manifesting. Is it a selfish path? Why or why not?
So, no, I don't believe it's a selfish path in this sort of manifesting, which is manifesting happiness, because being good to yourself and being happy helps you be better to others. It creates harmony. It also influences others. So, something I noticed in my own life is people are always asking me how I'm happy, how do I do it, and everybody wants to be happy. That's like the number one goal of people in on Earth, right? Like they want to be happy. Why do they do this? Because they want to be happy. Why are they going for this college degree? Because they think it'll make them happy. So if they see somebody that's genuinely happy, they're going to emulate that person and ask that person, "What are you doing? What do I need to implement from your life to make myself happy?" Also, it promotes happiness, promotes service to others, helping others, lifting others up. You feel more energized, you're less burned out. And the world benefits from positive energy and positive actions. It actually creates ripples in the universe.
Right. I would definitely say the butterfly effect is one of the most powerful things about manifestation.
Yes.
Wow. Well, we've gotten through some of the bulk of it.
We have.
For someone out there that has been unable to find a way to manifest their happiness, what do you think the number one thing from today's episode they should take away?
I think the main thing you could take away is that when you chase happiness that's rooted in contentment and in gratitude, opposed to solely materialistic gains, then you can essentially fill the void and create lasting happiness instead of only momentary happiness.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for having me today.
Yeah, we can close up here soon, but I will give the chance for the audience to come up if they would like to ask a question or anything else. You're welcome to raise your hand. If not, we can either close up or we can continue into a casual discussion. What would you like to do, Bodhi?
Yeah, I'm open to either or. I'll answer to the best of my ability and the best of my experience.
I got you. Well, no one has a question for the moment, but if they do, I will bring them up. Now, let's get into some experiences here. What is one of the experiences you've had firsthand of manifestation when you've started to change your mind? like your state of mind. Sorry.
Well, I did read an article on switching dimensions, and I started following the program, the simple program he gave, which is rooting in a new vibration into your life on a daily basis. And I started doing this through loving kindness. And I started noticing that things bothered me less. I became a general happier person. And the people around me were also happier. Like I gave off this vibration that they felt calm around and they felt like they can be themselves. And I noticed this in my day-to-day life when I'm around people. People would just start telling me things that I didn't even ask about just because they know that I'm there to listen to them without ego or without judgment. Mm. So this only not benefits me, but it benefits others, which I think is a beautiful thing because the main reason I do a lot of things I do is to help others.
That's amazing. So when you manifest a smile on your face, not only are you doing it for yourself, but it's extending to those around you. And you're
Yes.
a person that people can confide in because of that smile. I think that's beautiful.
Yes.
This probably should be the number one goal when it comes to manifestation. And this is why I brought up the question of like, is it a selfish path, right? Because 9 times out of 10, when people hear the word manifestation, they think of like the documentary Secrets or something of that nature where you're manifesting things into your life. But what you're talking about here is manifesting states of mind to alter the reality for yourself, right?
Yes. I mean, you can manifest material items, but also that's why I have the question, know your why. Like, why are you manifesting that? Like, in which way does it improve the quality of your life or benefit you and others by having this object? Like, sure, I want to get a car, but do I really need a Lamborghini? Because a lesser car, not necessarily a beat up car, but like something like a Toyota or whatever, can get you from A to B still. And even if you do have that Ferrari, you're not gonna be utilizing the power that it actually has because there's a speed limit, of course. So like, what would be the point? So knowing your why would make a lot of clarity in the things that you're doing and the states you're manifesting, and um, help you realize why you want those things.
Right. I would say if I tried to manifest a Lamborghini, I would have to give it back or sell it because I couldn't even afford to own it. Owning a sports car is ridiculous. I do not recommend manifesting that if you're in lower middle class.
That's another good point.
No, you're absolutely right. Like finding a reason of necessity. Like, how is this going to help me help others, right? And do
Yes.
I absolutely need this to be happy? Because the first thing you're doing is manifesting happiness. So after the happiness is satisfied, it's much easier to go about manifesting other things. And just like the law of attraction, you will attract what you need, whether you ask for it or not, just based on the state of mind you're carrying with you. I think that's beautiful. And that's the number one thing that people need to understand about when people talk about like meditation and changing their vibrations, their states of mind. It's not just faking it till you make it whatsoever. It's literally forcing your brain to switch frequencies, to think differently, to think more openly. And that is allowing us to receive more, right?
Yes, the meditation also has been shown to rewire your brain through neuroplasticity. So you're actually not only changing your habits and changing your life, but you're also moving into a new vibration, and becoming a totally new person.
Absolutely. I find the change in myself. I come from a pretty sad path as well. And when I started to get into these deeper states of meditation and less focusing on the things I don't have, right? And more focused on like the states of mind I carry about those things, uh, it really changes a person. I'd have to say, like when it comes to like anger issues, like you mentioned earlier, I used to have bad anger issues as well, and even the deepest breath in between these moments of rage where you just change your state of mind for a single moment can completely change the outcome of the next 5 minutes, right? Because you're quieting that rage and you're bringing in room for happiness. So you never know where it's going to go from there. But if you're going from a point of rage, you know where it's going to go.
Yes. Another thing that mindfulness and meditation boosts is your calmness and your reaction time to things. So you actually create a space in between your reaction time and what you're actually thinking in or what's going on in your body, so that you actually remove from reacting to responding. And that's when you become responsible, which is respond able. And instead of lashing out, you actually be able to stay calm and just be like, oh, is this really what I want to do? Like, how is this going to affect me and others? Because as soon as you lash out, then it starts a chain of events, a chain of reactions. But if you're able to stay calm and respond with your ability, then you can change the outcome essentially.
Right, exactly. I like the bike metaphor for this one. It's like if you're focused on the tree, which would be the rage, you're going to hit the rage every time. But if you focus on like the happiness and you avoid the tree, you keep riding your bike and things change.
Nice. I haven't heard that one before.
Bodhi, this has been beautiful. I really enjoyed this discussion. Do you want to close up here?
Yes, we can do that.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This is the Familiar Company podcast. We will be putting out an episode every time we get the chance. Thank you for joining us today. Y'all have a lovely afternoon. Join us next time.